What's up, Soul Warriors? Welcome to this Saturday night Soul Session live with me, Reverend LC. Let me tell you guys something. I am so thoroughly excited about tonight's guest. Tonight's guest is this amazing human being that I just randomly, goes to show you nothing's really random, that I randomly ran across on TikTok. And she is author and speaker and wisdom sharer and truth teller, Joyce Fields. And Joyce Fields is an author of several books, and she does these daily live videos over on TikTok. And I just shared this with her. I'm going to share this with you real quick, and we're going to get into it more when I bring our esteemed guest on tonight. But I had gotten to the place in my journey where I was just wanting to simplify my life. You know, we've spent 6 years getting up from our give up, and now we're in the phase of recovery soul food and my life personally, where we are creating a life we love. And there's so many different parts to that. And I had overcomplicated things so much in my mind that I had thrown my prayer out there. Show me how to get back to when things were more simple in my mind, when things were more simple in my heart. And and just in that very moment, in that morning, I ran across one of Joyce Field's lives. And I want to tell you, this woman is tremendous to me. Like, I feel such a soul connection to her because she is sharing wisdom that is lived, learned, put into practice, and she's sharing things. Her mission statement is, I write books that inspire people on their journey to make the world a better place. Don't we need more of that? We need more Miss Joyce Fields in the world. And I'm telling you, you're going to be blessed tonight. Blessed tonight. She is an inspirational speaker. She is an amazing writer. Her book that I've just ordered, just one of her many books, the My Simple Quotes to Live By, has just been such a blessing to me. It starts my day out. I start with this. It's my devotional right now, and I love it. And I'm so grateful to have her here. We're going to share all of her links during this conversation, and we're also going to have them listed in the show notes. She has so much to lend and give from so many aspects of her life, from mental well being to physical health. Relationship advice. Miss Joyce has been married to her husband, Fred, since 1967. They've been together for more than 60 years, have raised children, have grandchildren, great grandchildren. This is the wisdom we need in this world of chaos right now. So I am just utterly humbled and so grateful and honored to introduce to you all author, speaker, wisdom sharer, Miss Joyce Fields. Joyce Fields, welcome to the Recovery Soul Food
Whoa,
Podcast.
Elsie. What
Welcome,
an
welcome,
introduction.
welcome.
I hope
It's,
I live up to it.
oh, Miss Joyce, you already live up to it. I am so amazed by you, and we were talking about this before. You have close to 53,000 TikTok followers. I am so interested in how you got started on TikTok and how you came to that platform. Let's kick it off there, if you don't mind.
It's really weird. I'm gonna tell you, Elsie, a whole lot of stuff about my life is weird because it's like God driven. I can't explain it any other way. Uh,
Mm,
in 2020, I just went through all of my TikTok videos. So I didn't know when I started on TikTok. So the last one it said 2020. So I've been on TikTok for 5 years, but I've only been doing lives since November 15th of 2023. So it'll be coming up on 2 years. Now I got on TikTok when I learned that TikTok has over three, I think it said billion users a
wow.
month,
Wow.
viewers a month. I'm pretty sure it said billion. I said,
Wow.
what better way for me to share the advice that I have to share? And I'm telling you, Elsie, it's weird because it's like spirit led me to learn how to do a live. I didn't have any idea how to do a live, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall how I did it. That's just how
Oh, that's great.
mysterious it is.
That's
So I
great.
don't recall how I did it, and so I did it. I enjoyed it, and I do them 6 days a week, Sunday through Friday at 4 a.m. Pacific time. And I usually go for 90 minutes. And so some folks get on my lives and they say, why 4 a.m.? I ignore the question because if I had to respond, my response would be, why not 4 a.m.?
Why not? That's right. Why not?
So my whole thing is this. I understand that it's, a weird time, but I'm weird. So but
It's
but
spirit led.
a lot of people are up at 4 a.m. And then
Yep.
TikTok is all over the world. I get people calling, not calling, I get people joining from Brazil, from Chile, from Sweden, from Norway, from Australia, from
Wow.
every place, and
It's
it just blows my
tremendous.
mind.
It's tremendous. It's an amazing way to connect with other human beings all over the world. That's why I love doing this. I love doing live streams because you just it broadens your own horizons and it just gives so
Mhm.
many people, no matter where we are in the world, we're going through a lot of the same things, just the details are different.
That's right.
And you are now you said to me you're 81 or
Yes.
81 years old. I love that at 81 you are have a passion for sharing the wisdom that you've learned and lived through, been raised through.
Mm.
Reading your bio, it talks about whenever you wrote your memoir, what those
Mhm.
reasons were to, to still lend generations after you the ability to know themselves. That's beautiful. It's an amazing aspect for us to know who we are, where we came from, and those stories get lost in the
Mhm.
shuffle of everyday life. And
That's why.
you're the pillar of health. I've been through and watched so many of your TikTok videos and they involve physical movement and this is how to keep yourself, healthy. And how does all of that, how do you've had to have gone through some things in your life that has really shown you how important all of this stuff is. When would you say have you always been on a health journey and a mental wellness journey, or did that come from some type of struggle
Oh,
or
no. In 2011, I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer.
mm, mm,
And let me think here. I haven't thought about this in quite a while. 2011, and I had surgery and radiation. I didn't have chemo because
mhm.
my medical oncologist said that it would increase my chances of survival by 1 to 2%. And I said,
Oh,
hell no, I'm not going for
right.
that.
Don't blame me
And the
for that.
worst, I hate two things in the world. I hate the worst is nausea and vomiting.
Mm,
And
mm.
so that's the, mm-mm. So I didn't do that. I had radiation, and my last radiation session, get ready for this, Elsie, and everybody, was November 11th at 11 a.m. That's 11,
Oh,
11,
wow.
11 at
That's
11
amazing.
a.m.
That's amazing. That's
Blows my
amazing.
mind.
New
Blows my
beginning.
mind.
New
Mhm.
beginning.
So the reason I wrote, and you just touched on that,
Mhm.
um, I wrote Line of Serenity, the very first book that I wrote, and it's a memoir. I wanted to capture the way that our parents raised us. I'm the oldest of seven, and we were financially poor, but we didn't know it. The kids didn't know it.
Love
We
that.
thought we were I don't know what we thought if we were rich, or I don't think we thought that, but we were happy.
Mm,
Our parents, our entire family, all the way down through my cousins, even today, um, we adore each other because we're
mm,
blood, we're family, and we bring in close friends and all of that, and we consider them family. And people have come around our family, and they'll make comments like, "I ain't never seen as much hugging and kissing in a family as we hug each other when we see each other, when we greet each other. We hug and kiss when we depart from each other. It's just
That's
it's
beautiful.
just phenomenal." And I wrote the book because we all think that our parents did a wonderful job of raising us, and I wanted to document that. So
Mm,
the book is only 167 pages, which includes 22 pages of pictures. It's a memoir, so I have
mm,
pictures of some of the people that I talk about in the book, and 22 pages of my own recipes. And
love that.
Pap, that's my husband. His real name is Fred. We all call him Pap, P-A-P. And he says that he lives in a five-star restaurant
I
and
love it.
that I am an incredible cook.
I love it.
And I
I
love to
love
cook.
it.
I love to cook and I love doing these lives.
I love it. I love that you do them because let's talk about those lives because you really break those lives down. One of the things that I was drawn to was some hand movements, some
Ah,
spirit-led hand movements that anchor in these messages. And I love it. When you shared that, I said, "Oh, yes, I'm in the right place right here." Because when I first started my recovery journey, I had been addicted to substance and just the destruction of my own life for 22 years. It was just a
wow.
long, drawn out situation, and it came because I lived so much in the past, and I just couldn't release
Mm.
the why me's, and I lived in that
Oh,
energy of reliving those. And when I began to change that, because I knew when I came into recovery, I couldn't just stop using substance. I had to change my head and my heart because that what would keep me going back. And so I would always have these. I would arrest thoughts as they came in, as I would recognize them by doing something physical, whether it was doing something with my hands a lot of times, or I'd stomp my foot, I'd audibly say no, and it would break the monotony of that thought and give me a moment to re just redefine
wow.
that thought and do that.
Beautiful.
So when you were sharing about that, I just thought, this is a divinely connected time and space. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be hearing this because it reminded me to go back, to start at the beginning, to start simple, to
Wow.
start to unclutter my mind. So I would love for you to talk to us about the meat of your lives, your four pillars, the whole thing. Just
Okay.
talk to us about that.
All right. Congratulations to you.
Thank you
That
very,
was a
very much.
beautiful accomplishment. Wow, that's phenomenal. I, you're the first person I've talked to that actually described what you had to go through. You had to change your mind, you had to change your body, all of that. That's
Everything,
beautiful. So,
everything. Thank
my lives are all about helping people to undifficult their lives. That's what the title of it is.
you.
Undifficult your life.
Difficult.
People are making choices and decisions that complicate their own lives. And a lot of
Guilty.
times people are not aware of uh, these conditions and these factors that are affecting the way that they live. They blame a
Yes.
whole lot of other stuff. Now,
Yes.
I think that in my lives, I say you can change your own behavior. You cannot change other people's behavior.
Amen.
And personally, I think that that's one of the biggest problems in the world. We are too much focused on the behavior of other people. We should
Mm,
be looking at ourselves. If
yes. Whew.
if each one of us worked on improving our own self, that's what my mission statement is. That would contribute to making the world a better place. So the four pillars are: pillar number one, develop and maintain a positive attitude. Now, if more people had developed or would develop and maintain a positive attitude, wouldn't that make the world a better place?
Oh, yes. Yes, it
Uh-huh.
would.
Okay.
Yes,
The
it would.
second pillar is increase your level of patience. Now, all these pillars, I tell my viewers how to accomplish it. So, develop and maintain a positive attitude. That's the first pillar. And I tell them how you do that. The second pillar is increase your level of patience. If you are 10 years old or older, I tell you exactly how you increase your own level of patience. And I always start with the toddlers. If you are raising toddlers, it's very easy to teach toddlers patience. So that's the second pillar. And I tell them exactly how to do all of these things. And then pillar number three is to stay calm. And I do reference them helpful hand visuals. I
Mm-hmm.
use my hands and the words coming out of my mouth to explain philosophies and concepts and examples and all of that. And they are very effective. And I call them helpful hand visuals because one of my viewers in one of my lives this year, I know it was this year, she said, quote, these visuals are so helpful, unquote. So I use
Mm-hmm.
my hands. So I call them helpful hand visuals. And they have
Love
been very successful in getting my point across from my mind to the viewers' minds. And I'm
that.
just loving it.
I love that. Well, and it's so you offer something for you cover everything and everybody. That's why, I often reach outside of the recovery community to bring on guests because I feel like if we only stay focused on the addiction recovery part, we leave a whole lot of well being on the table. It's sometimes hard to then start to create a life you love if you're not reaching outside of your bubble to find out how how to do those things. It's more about maintaining sobriety. For me, recovery equals healing. And that
Mm-hmm.
healing is what keeps you from always being just over looking over your shoulder for that relapse. I've come to a place in a 12-year journey where I've healed so much internally and externally in my life that it would it's not a thought for me as far as relapsing on substance, and I don't stay afraid of that because I've done so much inner work. And the things that you talk about with just developing and maintaining a positive attitude, that was step 1 for me. Step 1 is
Mm-hmm.
how do I do this? And so I reached outside of what was the what was in the perimeters of recovery, and I began to study people like Bob Proctor, and I would study different different people, Jim Rohn, people that gave it like you give it in such a way that it's simple and profound in that here's how to do it, and
Mm-hmm.
not afraid to share your story of, and here's how I began to develop it. I was in a place of where I was afraid, had a diagnosis, had things that were happening that I developed these things, and you live them. It's not just that you talk about them, you live these things. And
Mm-hmm.
so I love all that. When you talk about increasing patience, I wonder if
Mm-hmm.
you would be willing to offer us, or especially the audience, just a glimpse of how one begins to do that. Because you were talking about something so profound in that if we focused more on ourselves and the work that we have to
Mm-hmm.
do, then it would be a lot there would be a lot less time for hate and division because we're not
Yes.
looking for a group to agree with whatever it is that we are focused on. We're looking within and developing ourselves. So how did you begin to start increasing your level of patience?
Well, I was raised that way. Like I said, I'm the oldest of seven. And I'm
That'll do it.
81 years old. And when I was around 78 years old, listen to this now. The thought came to me that I had never ever seen either one of my parents upset.
Oh wow.
I, n-
Wow.
I never saw it. they didn't model it for us, so we don't know how to get angry like that, you know.
Oh, wow.
Uh, and
Amazing.
so I was 78 years old before that realization hit me that I had never ever seen my mother nor my father. I call it over the top angry. And
Wow.
so I called all my siblings to find out if they had seen over the top anger from either one of my parents. They said no, because they had never even thought about it either. They
Wow.
both had been gone when I thought
Wow.
about it. And that book, Line of Serenity, describes all of the family dynamics that we had in our family. And like I said, I'm the oldest of seven. There were patterns, and my mother was so organized with her child rearing. Um, when I was coming up, when my brother was born, I trained him. I'm about 18 months older than he is, or was. He died in 2013. He had
Mm,
lung cancer. He was a wonderful human being. Oh my God. And
wow.
I forgot where I was now. So I was talking about we all think that they did such a fabulous job of raising us.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I wanted to document it so that it wouldn't die off when we all
Yes.
died. Okay. So that's why I
Mhm.
wrote it. But anybody that wants to know anything about the way that families can be raised in a healthy way, that
Mm.
book really describes the way that we were raised. And like I said, I'm the oldest of seven, and there are little episodes about every last one of us, the seven of us. Interesting stuff that
Oh,
happened in our lives, in each one of us. And so uh, that's the first book that I wrote. In 1997, I wrote that one.
I
And
love that. I love that. And I love that you talk about the importance of how people's foundation, because I also believe that in so much in the addiction world comes from our foundation, and not even just in like substance addiction. I think there's a lot of social media addiction and gaming addiction for young people. And it just
mm-hmm,
goes to show how important that original base is, and how even as I was coming in recovery, raising my son, it just all of that played in not being in, and I noticed he mirrored to me where the cracks in my own foundation were, and gave me the ability to look at what I wanted to change and what I wanted to create for him, in that the reason that I stepped into recovery and healing was because I didn't want him to repeat my patterns. And I
mm-hmm,
knew that if I was standing there in that moment repeating patterns that I had experienced in ways, and it came through my bloodline, that I could easily pass that on to him. And did I want him in 10 years to deal with his sadness and his pain in this way?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that was when I said no, and it was a rocky going, but I think that's so important, people's where they originate from, and that strong family foundation. I think that's beautiful that you have a family that has that closeness. I think that's a little bit
Yeah,
rarer now than it should
yeah,
be.
yeah. I know. I understand that completely. So, but one of the things is that people always tell you to love yourself,
Mhm.
but they never say you have to give yourself reasons to love yourself.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
I never hear
Share.
those words.
Yep.
Now, I have, and this is up on TikTok. I have so much content on TikTok, but
Yes, you
you
do.
you got to search through for some of my stuff. And this one is, excuse me, it's on TikTok. It's the little blue thing here, and it says, "People say, quote, love yourself, unquote, but they never say, quote, give yourself reasons to love yourself, unquote."
Mhm.
That's the key. Now,
Yeah.
are you kind? You can love yourself if you're kind. How about fair? Are you
Mm,
fair?
mhm,
Are you considerate?
mm,
Are you honest?
mhm.
Are you responsible? Are you patient? Then are you whatever? You can fill in the rest of the blanks. So those
I
are
love
the
that.
the key words as far as I'm concerned. You have to give yourself reasons to love yourself.
It's true. It makes it so it's such a broad statement. Everybody, there's such a trend
Yes.
that says love yourself, but it doesn't say how. It'll say treat yourself well. But most of us at the end of the day,
Mm-mm.
if we don't ask ourselves those questions,
I
we
know.
don't know what the heck we're loving ourselves for. And then the mind
Exactly.
contradicts it and says, well,
Yes.
what are you loving you for? You're
Hmm.
failing at work or you're not doing this.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
there you
We're
go.
living a lie.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
antidote is so simple is to give
Hmm.
yourself reasons.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Simple and profound. And that so that would lead then into the ability to help stay calm through
Yes.
life. And
All of the
gosh,
pillars are.
we
Now,
need that.
the big one, LC, I think today is that people are holding on to, they're full of resentment and
Mhm.
holding grudges against other people. Now,
Mhm.
this gets back to what I was saying as far as we need to be focusing on improving ourselves as
Amen.
individuals. You know,
Yes.
so when you hold on to resentment, I tell my viewers, you're really living in the past
Yes.
because you are focusing on something that happened. It's past tense. So you're holding on to it. And a lot of people don't realize or understand that when you hold on to resentment and you hold grudges against others, you are creating what I call an internal invisible burden on your cells, on your blood, on your
Mm,
organs, on your entire being. Now,
yes.
you look around you at people that you know are full of resentment and hold grudges against other people.
Mhm.
Most of those people, not all of them, but most of them, a whole lot of them, are not in the best of health. They're
That's
not
right.
aging well. That's what holding grudges and holding on to resentment, that's what they do to you. I call them the uglies.
Mm.
When
Mm.
you're full of anger, resentment, ego, all of those ugly things, the uglies damage the person who holds on to them, who
Oh,
carries
yeah.
them. They don't do anything to the people you're holding the resentment towards or the grudges against. They don't do anything to them. It's
Yeah.
damaging you. That is the law of the universe. When you hold on to uglies, the uglies do damage to you.
That's right. I heard one of the most profound, life changing moments for me on this subject was when I heard Joyce Meyer say that holding on to unforgiveness is like drinking poison, hoping somebody
Hmm.
else dies. And
Yeah,
that was
that's an old
life
saying.
shifting. Yep, that is
Yeah, that's
life
an old saying.
shifting
Hmm.
because just what you're saying, the uglies affect every part of us
Yes,
down to a cellular level and
that's
all the way
correct.
down to what we're speaking to ourselves and not knowing how to love ourselves properly,
Hmm.
not giving
Yeah.
our own self reasons to really love ourselves. Because as you were asking those questions, are you kind? Are you this? Internally, I'm answering those questions. And it's a like a light bulb goes off that says, I am
Hmm.
all those things. I am those things. I have permission to love myself. And you're right,
Yes.
holding on to resentment, people are really going through it. I I don't get too deep into this stuff, but I think I've said this since even the COVID lockdowns that there is trauma that is created in people that they don't even recognize is really related because it seemed like so many of people's attitudes and their I think because we spent so much time online connecting with like-minded. So whatever that mindset was that somebody's in, they're connecting with other people that reiterate that mindset. And then we had these break off groups and it created a lot of isolation. And we started to blame. I call this a
Mhm.
culture that's addicted to outrage. Everybody's
Yes,
addicted to outrage.
that's true. But and I do not like the word mindset. It
Okay.
means different things to different people. If you
True.
ask
True.
10 people what the word mindset means, they tell you 10 different things.
Mm,
So I use the word attitude.
mm,
Attitude is general communication. Everybody knows what attitude is. I don't like the
yeah,
word mindset. I never use it because
like
it's
it.
different things to different people. It's just like happy. It's different
Mhm.
things to different people. So
Yes.
I like straight up communication, straight no chaser.
Yes. Clear is kind. Clear
That's
is
right.
kind. And
Yeah,
kind
and you
is
live
not
by the golden
boisterous.
rule. You live,
Yes.
I think that, and I say this in my lives every time. I do them 6 days a week. So do it. I don't say every day. So I have to monitor myself and say 6 days a week. Uh, and I say, you have to give yourself reasons to love yourself. You can't just say, I love me. Why do you
Right.
love you?
Mm.
Tell me
Mhm.
why you love you.
I love that. I love that.
Hmm.
I love that. And it can be, I can see where someone gets lost in the cliche and the idea. It can be sobering for a minute for someone to say, "Now tell me why you love you." But
Yes.
gosh, when you can really understand that, it makes loving yourself real and not just a concept. And we can't live through
Hmm.
the concepts. We have to live
Hmm.
through the real.
Yes.
And we're going so fast in the chaos that I think sometimes we don't recognize what's real. This is why
Wow.
again, when I connected with your live that morning, it was just so profound because it was clear, conscious communication, and just like with the word attitude, clearing up that mindset. You have a real gift for sharing practical knowledge in a very digestible way that is super
Uh,
profound. It's
yeah, I
very,
get those
very
kind of
digestible.
those kind of comments. So somebody says, "You explain everything so beautifully."
Mhm. And
And
simply,
that's my
yeah,
gift, Elsie. That's my
it is.
gift. I don't know. You know what? I think that if we all truly lived by, and I don't use the word try anymore. I'm trying to eliminate that word. I even said
Mhm,
trying to it. Okay.
mhm, I
So my
like it.
goal is to eliminate the word try. Either you do it or you don't.
Yes,
Uh,
Lord.
but if we all live by the golden rule states, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You should live by that. And
Yes.
I make this statement in my lives, and it shakes up a whole lot of people. Do you understand? Do you realize? Do you know that God or the universe or whatever you call your higher power sees
Mhm.
everything you do and hears everything you say? And when I say
Yes.
that, that changes a whole lot of people's attitudes because they are not consciously aware. You should be consciously aware of the fact that
Yes.
God is watching everything you do and hearing everything that you say. And some people say they changed they changed their whole attitude after they heard that statement. That
Well,
they have to be
it's true.
reminded that
You
God
do.
see. I don't care what you call your high power. It
Right,
sees
right,
everything you do and hears everything you say. And so I'm
right.
not a Miss Goody Two Shoes. I don't want to pay.
I
It's just
understand
that
that.
simple. It's just
I
that
love that.
simple. I don't want to pay.
I love that. Yes, in my the big early recovery journey, I had life that would just roll over you because there's this cliche thought that's like, well, if you stop using whatever it is or you do away with the addiction, your life just magically gets better. And no, that's not the case. Life introduces itself to you on its terms. And it's about us adjusting and beginning to create life. And so every time something would come over me, I'd think, okay, I've put out some karma. I'm going to move with this. I'm going to bring this into my life. I'm not going to resent it. I'm not going to be angry. I'm going to bring this in because I'm counting them off and I'm going to keep creating better. If I keep creating and living by the golden rule, then
Yes,
eventually I will get to a place where I have erased what I've put out there and now I'm bringing in the good that I've put out there. So
exactly.
I
Exactly.
love that. Ah, you
And
just
you
have
can
such a way
change
to
your
speak it.
attitude any minute. The
Yes.
next
Talk
minute, you
about
can
it.
change your attitude.
Talk some more about it. Miss Joyce. Tell us
It's all
about it.
about the way you think, you know. So if you think failure, it's almost like we've almost all of us have heard about life is like a boomerang. What you put
Mm-hmm.
out is what comes back to you.
Mm-hmm.
That is really true.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it
If you
is.
put out evil and ugly, that's what's going to come back to you. And I really think that a lot of suffering in this world is because a lot of us are doing ugly, evil things. Now,
Yes.
the suffering can be people that, not just you as the doer of the evil things, it can affect people that you care about. So I really think
Mm-hmm.
that that's part of the reason why there's so much suffering in the world, because you are doing stuff and then other people are suffering the consequences in your family that you care about. So it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be just you, it can be somebody that you care about. So if we would all just straighten up and fly right, like the old saying goes, if those if we would all just straighten up and fly right, the world would be a better place. Work on
It's certainly.
improving you. You cannot change other people's behaviors. Even partners, uh,
Mm-hmm.
heterosexual or homosexual, whichever,
Mm-hmm.
gay, I don't care.
Yep.
Everybody deserves to be given their space to live their lives. You know, so as long
Yes.
as you are not violating anybody else's rights or property and treating people fairly, that's in that in my simple course to live by.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're doing okay as long as you're
Yes.
not violating other people's rights or property and treating
Mm-hmm.
people fairly. And see, that's not what's going on in this world.
No. No.
And so,
Not at all.
you know, but
Not
if
at
more
all.
of us developed and maintained a positive attitude, increase the levels of patience, stay calm, and remember the four words that can immediately lower your stress, panic, anxiety, whatever. Those four words are: this too
Yes.
shall pass.
Oh,
Four words.
love
I'm
it.
trying to see how this camera's going.
Love it. You got
Four
it.
words. This too
Love it.
shall pass. Remember those four words. Nothing lasts forever. And you know, you may be wallowing in whatever uglies you're
Mm-hmm.
wallowing in. Just remember that nothing lasts. You can't make them last. A lot of
So
people
true.
prolong their own misery by
Mm-hmm.
wallowing in it once it's gone.
Yes, yes, and holding on to it. And the nervous
Yeah,
system doesn't know the difference between what happened 20 years ago, 20 days ago, or 20 minutes ago.
yeah,
Every single time we replay that or we relive that, our
yes.
body's going through it again at a cellular level, like we've already talked about. If you
Hmm.
guys are joining us late, we are with author and speaker of truth and TikTok sensation, Miss Joyce
I didn't
Fields.
know
I
that.
just want to say that if anybody's joining us later, because we're live on 2, 4, 6, 7 platforms right now. So we'll have people come in and out. And I just want to make sure everybody knows who you are as they come in. One of my great friends, and is also an author and written a memoir, her name is Pamela Topgen. And I like her comment. She says, "Nice to see you again, my friend. Looking forward to hearing from your guest tonight. I love hearing the wisdom of our elders, especially since I'm getting close to 60. You know, I'm 51 this year, and it's just so amazing to hear from you. I just wish that more people with such lived experience were, I hope that they are able to share it and that they have an audience to really value it, because this is valuable lived experience, valuable you live this. That's what makes it so
Yes,
powerful, Miss Joyce, is that this is how you operate your life.
I
Now,
sure do.
and you are healthy and move, and you and Pap, and tell us a little about Pap, because you and Pap have been in a relationship for 60 plus years. Seems to
68.
me that 68 years, is it the
Mm.
four pillars that have helped you
Oh God, yes.
maintain? Love it. Love
Yes.
it.
A
Love it.
positive attitude,
Love
patience.
it.
And my late mother-in-law, a past mother, used to always tell me, I was like 14, 15 years old. She said, you have the patience of Job. When I was
Mm,
14, 15, I didn't know who Job was. Uh, but I learned who Job was later because my son has read the Bible a couple of times, cover to
mhm,
cover, and he's read the Quran a couple of times, cover to cover. He
mhm.
really is into philosophies, not
Mm.
religions.
Right, me
And
too.
so, yeah, I just positive attitude. It's all
It
it's
helps.
about is having a positive attitude. So you have to, every dark cloud has a silver lining. So
Mm,
sometimes the silver lining is right there and it can slap you in the face. But sometimes you got to look for it,
yes.
you know?
Yes. Yes. You do have to look for it, and
Hmm.
to the not holding on to the uglies, and
Exactly.
really not trying to change somebody. I struggle with this in my own relationship. I've been married now for 20 years. We've gone through so many different changes. We're in a new change in our lives now. Relationships take so many different turns and evolve in
Uh-huh.
so many different ways long term. And it's a special process. It's a beautiful process, but it can come along with some, you know, skint knees and hurt feelings sometimes. It's always about what you said. It's always about maintaining or looking within. If I'm working on myself, then I'm releasing you, because a lot of times when we try to work on other people for them, we lock their energy in. It's almost like they can't change if we are so focused on, because what we focus on grows no matter what it
Yeah.
is. If it's
Amen to
positive
that.
or negative, it's going to grow. And so when we
Hmm.
lock in on what we think other people need to change in order to somehow make us happy, it's very egotistical. But it's the norm,
Hmm.
unfortunately. That's kind of the culture, is make me happy, change so I can be happy. And when we do that, we don't realize that we're that's not going to make us happy either. Even
Yeah.
if they do
We need
that
to get out
dance,
of we need to get
yes.
out of this. All of this stuff. The media is showing us how to do things wrong.
Mm, mhm,
When I was coming up as a kid, the TV shows, the movies, they all showed children how to be good.
mm,
That's what they showed.
mhm,
Today, we're teaching children how to be bad, how to be
yeah,
evil. Um, there's this Aldi's commercial. I don't know if it's all over the country, where they're talking about no jumping off the low price sign or something like that, and the kid
mhm,
jumps off it anyway.
mhm.
After the guy says, and the mother says, "Don't jump off the low price sign," and then right after she said it, they show a kid jumping into the water. So that's showing defiance. It's
Yeah,
teaching them.
yep,
And so
subtle,
when
yep,
as far as sex and all of that stuff, we never saw that. When there was, and this is in Line of Serenity, when there was a sex scene, they showed the couple go into the bedroom and close the door. We saw
mhm,
nothing else.
mhm, mhm,
Nowadays, these kids and people are sitting up with their babies in arms, with their 1 year olds, 2 year olds, watching this crap.
mhm,
And then the adults don't know how to handle it. What in the
right,
world are we doing to the children's minds? So
absolutely,
kids, we are teaching kids to be disobedient, disrespectful, vulgar, all of
mhm,
this. Nowadays, you see movies where the kids are getting killed.
mhm,
Uh,
mhm,
we never used to see that. And so
Yeah.
nobody is speaking out about this. I don't know. We should
Well,
be rising up against all of
I,
this ugly stuff.
I'm absolutely with you. I mean, it's too much to process. You're right. It's if
Mhm.
adults have a hard time processing it, how what are children doing with it? They're making up their own stories about it. What we
Exactly.
don't realize is in any moment, because I know this within myself when I look back on my own life, the stories that I made up within my own child's mind of how to handle certain adult issues ended up plaguing me for years, and they weren't even
Mhm.
the truth, but a child's mind is a child's mind. It only has so much capacity. And I
Mhm.
believe that you're right. We have gotten far away from people understanding how important what we take into
Mhm.
our consciousness when we get into the doom scrolling, what that's actually doing to us on a cellular level, on the
Mhm.
synapses in the brain, how it affects us as our all
Yeah.
over health and well-being. And you're right,
Yes.
we said this earlier as we were talking, that there's a lot of creating our own misery and then
Yes.
locking ourselves in it because it
Yes.
becomes a
And
comfortable story, becomes a comfortable identity, and we're
but you
so
don't know how
involved
much
with it.
damage you're doing to your own spirit. And that's really bad.
Right, right. And having
So
having a light spirit and a spirit of wellness, I believe, because I mean, you look amazing.
oh, thank
You
you.
feel amazing, you
I
share
sure do.
amazingly. I mean,
Mm.
you've if people don't look at you and say, "Miss Joyce has something that I want," like, just look at Miss Joyce, like, to me, it's so inspiring. It gives me
Thank you.
just it just lights me up because I see that what you're talking about is I'm able to grasp that. You're sharing these pillars in
Yes.
such an amazing way that we have a comment here from Jenny that says, "Great job, you all. I'm taking all sorts of notes. Nice to meet you, Miss Joyce." I
Thank
mean,
you, Jenny.
this is this is noteworthy content right here that actually helps enrich someone else's life by
Yeah.
a person who's lived it,
Yeah.
and I keep going back to that over and over and over again. It's lived experience, but it is valuable. Miss Joyce, this I don't want to hold you too long. I know we
Oh,
said
I still
40
have a few more
we're
minutes to
good.
go with you.
Okay, good.
But I want to
Good,
tell
good,
you,
good, good.
develop and maintain a positive attitude. That's the very first pillar. Develop and maintain a positive attitude. The way you do that is you write a program. The way you write a program is you say it out loud. And I don't care
Yes.
who's around you. Here's the words that you say. From now on, I am going to be working on developing and maintaining a positive attitude. It's just that simple, LC. Now, it's not going to work for 100% of the people, but I think it will work for a big piece of that.
Yes.
When you hear yourself say that and mean it, then you put your feet on the path of a positive attitude. And all kinds of positive, wonderful things start happening to you
Yes.
when you just
Yes,
simply
it
say
does.
that. Your
Yes, it
spirit
does.
changes, your soul changes when
Yes,
you
it
mean it.
does. Yes, it does. And your reticular activating system in your brain starts to find reasons and ways to show you that and to mirror that. So
Mm-hmm.
it all develops together. When I did my first began recovery, when I first started sharing about it, I was about in year 3 of recovery because I had felt like I had finally grasped something that I thought, "Oh my gosh, if I can grasp this and make these changes in my life, anybody can." And I started sharing that, and I would call it my recovery battle plan. I would use my own past failures and create a strategy around them to keep myself out of certain situations. And it was
Mm-hmm.
so much like that, speaking it out loud, saying
Mm-hmm.
different things to myself, because how many of us are guilty of tripping over something, or knocking something over and calling ourselves some type of negative name? Oh, I'm a klutz, or I'm an idiot, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm this. I mean, we do these things and we think they're so innocent, but Miss Joyce, you know as well as I do that it's almost like putting a spell over our own selves. Our
Mm-hmm.
words become spells in our lives. And so that's
Yes.
such a beautiful piece of advice, to speak that out loud. That would be
Mm-hmm.
step one. Is there a step two after that that people could implement in that first pillar of developing and maintaining a positive attitude? First, we're going to say that out loud. Is there something
Okay.
else to
Now, I'm
teach?
going to tell you about the ratio. A lot of people, when I ask on my lives, and I ask this question every night, do you know that you live your life by a ratio? Most of the people say, a lot of them say no. They never
Mm-hmm.
heard of a ratio. Spirit gave me this. A ratio is a simple tool that will, not can, that will help you to better control your life. My ratio, and you set your own ratio, it is controllable only by you. You set it and it's adjustable. My ratio is 80/20. That means that 80% of my life will be spent in the positive attitude mode.
Mm-hmm.
20% of my life can be spent in the negative attitude mode. Now, the positive attitude mode, that means that 80% of the time I honor whatever programs I wrote,
Mm-hmm.
80% of the time. 80% of the time, I do what is right, what is fair, what is honest, what is considerate, what is kind, all of those things, 80% of the time. I'm happy in that 80%. The 20% of the time, I'm not happy, but nobody can have a positive attitude 100% of the time. Nobody can have a negative attitude 100% of the time. That's why there's a ratio. So the 20% that I designate for negative attitude mode, that means that I don't care what you do, but you cannot physically abuse anybody. You cannot hit people. You cannot throw things. You cannot be verbally abusive with anybody. You cannot cuss anybody out. You cannot insult anybody. And then one of my viewers, her username is Midnight, she asked me to include tone of voice. And I was
Mm-hmm.
happy to include tone of voice because it ain't what you say, is how you say it. So,
Yes.
ugly tone of voice. So, those three things, when you are in your negative attitude mode, that percentage, whatever you allocate that percentage for or to, is you cannot be physically abusive, you cannot be verbally abusive, and you cannot use an ugly tone of voice. As long as you don't do any of those things, you're fine.
Mm. And is it fair to say that as a person sets their ratio, if they're just starting this journey, this walk, when a person sets their ratio, is it fair to say that they could do 50-50 and start it and then evolve into how their
Well, I,
ratio
I,
looks?
I don't encourage anybody to do
Okay.
50/50. I encourage them to do 60/40 if they want to start.
64.
But I don't
Okay.
like 50/50. That's half the time you're negative, half the time you're
Right.
positive. So
Right. Right.
that's my
So
own
you
personal
say,
preference. But you can,
but you say, so
and
you
it's
say go on.
adjustable.
Yes. So it's evolvable as well. So as you start at sixty
Yes.
forty in this practice, you start to grow and evolve more until you get to that 80-20. And sometimes
Or whatever.
yeah, it sometimes it I think that it's valuable to be able to give yourself some time to be in that negative mind space,
Oh,
and you have this
yes.
parameter of this ratio that you now use
Yeah.
as a strategy in your life. You have this parameter. It's almost like giving yourself a pass, so to speak, so that you're not hard on
Exactly.
yourself. I love that.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, 80
That's
20. I don't own it. Anybody can use 80 20. I had one viewer, she said hers was going to be 90 10. I said, Lord, no, no, no. That is too tight for me. So now here's the example that I tell everybody. I'm going to give you this example, and it'll show you how you can take this example and change any behavior that you have. Now,
mm,
this is not a true example. I'm going to close with this. Um, Here's an example. It is not true, but I'm going to use it to show y'all how to use the ratio. I eat 12 cookies every day. It's not true. I don't want to eat 12 cookies every day. That's the scenario. Okay. Now,
mhm.
here is the program that I write. Okay. I eat 12 cookies every day. I do not want to eat 12 cookies every day. Starting tomorrow, I will eat 10 cookies. Tomorrow comes, you eat 10 cookies. Next days, weeks, months, you're still eating 10 cookies. What the ratio does for you is that tells me, I'm using myself now, 80% of the time, I will eat those 10 cookies, only 10. 20% of the time, I can slip and go back up to 11. I can even go up to 12. But you have a feeling about that when you do it because you said you were only going to eat 8. But then you say, well, I can eat to 11 or 12. I can go back up. I mean, 10. Said you're going to eat 10. So that's how the ratio serves you. But you
I,
cannot go beyond that 20%.
I love it. I love it. It's strategy. It's strategy for creating a life you love. I love it. This has been one of my favorite episodes. You are, as always, in the top running of one of my favorite guests. I love what you share. I look forward to continuing to catch your lives on TikTok. You are a blessing to me, a blessing to the world. And we know at least almost
Thank you.
53,000 other people believe exactly the same. So your voice is being heard in the world and it's really being effective to people. And if I got to do nothing else, I wanted to tell you that personally for me, your voice is very special in my life. It has really brought me to the basics. It teaches me. I'm sitting here taking notes in my
Ah,
book the whole time as well because I'm creating a life I love, and we all deserve to have a life we love, no matter where
yes.
we've come from, where we've been, and it's within our grasp, it's within our power. Miss Joyce, you are a blessing, and I want
Oh,
to
thank
take
you
this.
very much, LC. I enjoyed it.
This has been outstanding. You can find Miss Joyce Fields on TikTok at JJFields7. You can order Miss Joyce's books from, I would suggest going to goodshortbooks.com. You can
Yes.
also find her books, her bio about her at amazon.com/Joyce Fields. One other thing that Miss Joyce has is a blog that is Line of Serenity at WordPress. Let's see,
Dot
it's
WordPress.
lineofserenity.wordpress.com. I
Yeah, I
encourage
have
each and
800
every one
posts
there.
there. Yeah,
I and this
yeah,
this is one of my this is like I said in the beginning, this has become these my simple quotes to live by has become my morning devotional. It is such an amazing, great little book addition to my life. Get your copy today, and everything that Miss Joyce does, I know is touched by is just guided. She is a divine channel. So
well,
thank you, Miss
thank
Joyce, for
you.
joining me.
Thank
This has been
you. I
amazing,
appreciate that.
and
I
I can't
loved
wait to
it.
see you next live. I love it. Thank you so
Thanks,
much, Miss
LC.
Joyce.
Okay,
Thank you. Have a great night. Bye
you
bye.
too.
Thank
Bye.
you, y'all. Come on, Miss Joyce, 81 years old, married for 68 years. If we're not listening to people like this and drawing from their wisdom in our lives, we got to. We got to. because she is a blessing, a blessing, a blessing of life. And I am so grateful you all stayed here with us, and had a part of this conversation. This has been one of the greatest conversations ever. Please go follow Miss Joyce. Please go check out all of Miss Joyce's books and all of the stuff that she does. It will be a wonderful addition to your life. You guys, you know I love you. I hope you have the most amazing and blessed week. Remember that no matter where you are, you can get up from your give up and create a life you love. I'm Reverend LC, and I love you. Y'all have a great week. Bye.